Exactly. Okay, so we're going to be hopping into game number 2 now. Shuttle here with a 1-0 lead against Soulkey in this best of 5.
We have Shuttle in the top right with Soulkey in the bottom left, so cross spawns. Do you think that Soulkey is going to take his close by third base on that high ground, or is he going to take another mains natural?
Actually, I think it cross spots. You don't want to take another mains natural.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think that's the rule, but sometimes Zergs will break it because here's the weird thing. Okay, so let's go deep into theory here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at what would happen if Zerg was on the bottom right and Protoss was on the upper right. Well, what happens is a lot of times Zergs will take their third base at the natural of the bottom left, right? Because that's really far for Protoss to travel to. The Zerg kind of own the map at a lot of the early game in this matchup. And then you get a fourth base secured up here. Now, if you were to, in these spots with Soulkey at the bottom left, let's say you took the upper left starting location's natural base, because guys, the whole thing is on this map it's weird. If you take a natural base, then you pretty much get the main base for free.
Yeah.
Out of the 4 starting locations. So, thing is Zerg is taking a risk if he takes either of those 2 bases, upper left or bottom right, because I think Shuttle can push it.
Yeah.
I'm guessing we're going to see a more normal game.
I think you're
where
right.
the Zerg takes a third base in one of the closer 2 locations.
It's a solid analysis, and I think you're probably going to be right about that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction. I don't think Soulkey's going to 3-hatch Hydra this time. I think we're going to see a standard 3-base layer, get into that Spire, go up to 5-6 hatches, play that type of macro game, because Shuttle looked pretty impeccable.
Yeah, he looked really good. By the way, Shuttle's going for the Blind Fast Expand build.
Yeah.
This is the one that if you guys try this on ladder,
you're dead.
You will end up losing a lot of games being confused, but basically, I mean, it does stop a decent amount, but it's a little bit risky here. What Shuttle's saying is, okay, your rush worked so poorly against me in that last game, I'm going to open up with crazy fast Nexus. I need to double check. I don't even think you need a second pylon with this. I don't actually know this build that well. I think you just keep making probes and the Nexus just finishes.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, and then the Nexus finishes, and that's your second pylon, and you're like, oh, yeah.
That's what we call a build order.
Yeah, that's that is one of those good-feeling builds.
Yeah.
So, I think Zerg's going to see this and go, oh, man.
Yeah, because he went hatchery first. It's not like he has any recourse here. There's nothing he can do about it.
Let's watch and see if there's a second pylon with this. I don't think there is.
Just for Taste's own selfish reasons, we're going to check on that.
I'm like taking notes on this. I'm like, well, my wrists are better.
Yeah, no second pylon.
Yeah,
you're right.
It works out perfectly.
Look at you. And there is that standard third base. Tasteless 2 for 2.
Yep.
So blocking the probes, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, this is not bad, though, for Zerg.
Oh, wow.
You get the probe right away like that?
Yeah,
that's never
great.
supposed to happen.
No. Probes are supposed to stay alive till Zergling speed, so a little bit of a mistake there from Shuttle. But Shuttle had a stronger opening build order anyways, I would say. You know, you get the high end of it if you're the Protoss player going Nexus first.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, Soulkey's obviously happy that he didn't get hurt at all by his hatchery first play.
Okay. The drones are getting made up right now. And Artosis...
You'll never expect it if I do it again.
I don't know, man. I mean, if Soulkey loses this series and he does 2 3-hatch Hydra Bus, I want you guys at home to understand that this is... It's a very strong build, and if you catch the Protoss off guard at all... Like, here's the thing. Shuttle could still lose to this, okay? But if you catch the Protoss off guard at all, it's so hard to get back on your feet, especially with how good these guys are at controlling. But, I mean, when you're doing this, you're basically saying, I don't want to play a late game. Now, there's one variation where you get about 4 Hydras, and you say, I know where the cannons are placed. I'm going to kill the gateway or the forge.
Yeah.
And you're droning behind it. And I think that has some value. I just don't know if we're going to have that this time around.
I wonder if there's a possibility that he chose to do this strictly off of killing the probe early on. Because that almost never happens, and it's hard to go 3-hatch Hydra because you have to kill the probe. And this is a game where he didn't open up with a quick pull or quick speed or anything. So, I don't know. What do you think about that? You're like, no, that's stupid. I'm like, no, I don't think it's stupid.
No, I guess, okay, I just keep trying to go over in my head why you choose to do this.
Yeah.
At Zerg, right? It's so weird. Okay, here comes the first Zealot. Now, here's the funny thing.
He's going to see a Hydra.
He's going to see the Hydra. Oh, my God.
Soulkey, so much trouble he is in now.
Yeah. No, I was just wondering about the same thing. Now, in case you guys are wondering, like, don't they end up rushing a lot later if they don't go gate first? Yeah, but you expect them to just make drones, so you send Zealots out anyways. And then what happens is you're seeing Hydras pop out anywhere. Now, we're going to get a shot in a second here of Shuttle's second base entrance. Oh, my God, he's getting drones, too.
He lost 3 drones during that.
Look at that. This guy played a lot of Tetris. Look how those cannons just fill in there.
Yeah.
That feels good on my brain, seeing the cannons just fit in just like that.
Well, what does Soulkey do from here? Does he continue on with the bus? Does he just, like, really go all in? Or does he try to transition again? Because last game, that transition did not work out.
This is the problem with this build. And looks like he's going to drone up. He had some drones made already. I mean, this is the problem with this strategy that Zerg's doing, Artosis, is that, I mean, I think he's going to try to go for it. Maybe he can get those Zerglings past Zealot. Now he moves that over there, too. 1 damaged Overlord is with us, too.
Well, he can get a DT here, and Corsair on the way.
By the way, what you see Shuttle setting up for behind this is a DT drop. That's why you have the Robo with this. Is they almost have nothing back at home, so you basically just hold on with cannons. Hold on. Oh, get a shot of this.
Oh, he's targeting down 1 cannon, but enough cannon shots do force everything back. More cannons on the way here for Shuttle, but there's not really more Hydras coming.
Yeah, he's going to get the Forge, and some players might look at that and say, ha-ha, you can't get +1 attack. And I mean, the story is you don't really need +1 attack if this guy has, like, no drones back at home, only Hydras.
Yeah.
You already have way more probes than they have drones by a ton, and it's only getting worse. And by this point in time, you're seeing more gateways get set up here for Shuttle. Now, he's going to try to take out this gateway here in the front. You got to be careful. He can't make any more cannons. And there is 1 Overlord to spot the DT.
Yeah.
But I don't see more Hydras coming out here, so he's not committed to that all in at all.
And pretty heavy scouting with the Corsairs right now. Might be looking for a Spire.
So you notice that there's no Overlord here in the main?
Yeah.
A lot of times when they do that, they don't have an Overlord in the main because they need to send 1 to 2 Overlords up there outside the natural.
Yeah.
So if they do get the bust, you don't break in there, and then it's nothing but Hydras, and they have 1 DT, and you just die, and the game goes on. So this is the DT drop follow-up, and this should be going towards the main.
Well, he drops 1 out. Does he have 2 in there then?
He might. I'm not sure. The math gets a little bit fuzzy on this one.
Yeah.
Now, maybe there's Overlord speed here. I think you could maybe try to do a follow-up where you do a mass speed Hydra drop. But you see where the Overlords are, right? There's not 1 at the 3rd base.
And none in the main, as we saw.
Yeah. Now, there is 1 in the natural where this DT's going. Oh, I'm sorry. No, the DT's up here unless there's a second one. Oh, okay. The Shuttle's going to come in over here. Wow.
Flies right into the natural. Oh, God, a Psystorm going to be coming out here.
Wow. Yeah, well, this is something else you can do. They don't have a Spire either, right?
Yeah. Can't stop that. So some reasonable damage dealt by Shuttle here.
I will say, though, man, honestly, it seems like the Zerg player Soulkey has actually did a decent job here with the 6-hatch Hydra. He really has. Now, with these Overlords grouped up like that, you have to assume he's going to be getting speed and drop, right?
Yeah, I would imagine.
That's the only logical thing, I think. We'll see.
I mean, what could Hydra drops do right now? Because Zealot legs are going to be done. He has Psystorm already.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of this comes down to finesse, right? You know, if you have these players coming out like this, sometimes you want to try to snipe the High Templars, and I think that's what he's going to do here. All right. So this was that finesse I'm talking about, where on paper, maybe the Protoss has a better army, but if Zerg could get rid of your Templars, you just Protoss Zealots are good with Templars. If they're alone, a lot of times they get out-controlled. But you know, so again, it comes down to that rush, man. That rush didn't do that much damage, so Protoss has this engine where they can come out on the map and just doing a crazy amount of damage. And we got some lurkers coming here. Now, this may have gotten here just in time that it can actually run by those lurkers. He might want to make lurker eggs on the ramp here.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's probably what we're going to end up seeing. One does go down. Lurkers are popping out. He's going to be able to burrow them, and with no detection, as long as he splits these. Oh, God, he actually has the Observer rallying in as well. Soulkey.
Wow.
Is he going to go down 0-2 to start?
Well, it's not looking good, man. I will tell you, those Zealots did not quite target the way they could have, and somehow the 3 lurkers are still there at the front.
God, yeah, it looked like he should have lost all 3 there, but only loses 1. 3 Zealots left over, going after some drones.
Yeah.
It's a reasonable amount of those.
But, I mean, I would imagine that Protoss has a decent amount. Yeah, he's got a good-sized army back at home. I mean, I think that's like 8 gateways back there. He's got a lot of production. This is funny because there's no +1 here because that Forge was killed off. We see drones die a lot more quickly.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. Well, the Observer made it out at least. Hydra Lurker moving up across the map. No third base yet for Shuttle. So I guess, you know, a small thing here for Soulkey.
Sure. I think that attack could have actually started beginning to win the game, though, there by Shuttle.
Yeah.
He just needed to figure. He did this one weird thing. He stormed the eggs, then lurkers hatched, so that storm didn't go anywhere. He had the Zealots sort of there, but not attacking anything. And Zerg is going to try to go for a lurker contain. This is a much older way to play.
Well, he gets his Zealots out on top of everything
I think we're about to see why this is an older way to play here.
Desperate times, Tasteless.
Yeah.
They call for desperate measures.
You know, the problem is that Protosses are so good at macroing now, and if you took any risk early on and then tried to do lurker contain, unless they lose their Observer, you get busted down. Now, we see already it's easy to lose an Observer, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know, man.
Dude, he actually has the Forge in his main. The Observer just showed us. He never even started +1.
I feel like that can't be intentional, right? But maybe.
Yeah, it has to be a mistake.
I just can't. Yeah,
it has to be.
No reason to not get that. It's so
+1 is better than a couple units at this point.
Right. Okay. The attack's coming in here.
The lurker flank from the right. It's not very big though. That is a lot of Hydras.
Yeah. I feel like Shuttle overestimated his position.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, is there no storm on these? Okay, there it is.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
He loses the Archon, though. This battle actually goes to Soulkey by far.
Yeah, well, this is actually really bad here for Shuttle. He can do this weird thing when you run up the ramp into the main and just stay there.
Yeah.
It's a weird, it's not pretty, guys, but you can buy some time that way.
Yeah.
But I think Shuttle's probably...
I think that's an area Soulkey might not even want to try to break through right now.
Yeah, that's basically the idea. But again, this macro engine for Shuttle, I mean, this is really scary. Okay, he's making +1 attack Artosis.
Oh, okay. So we're 12:55 in, and he started +1.
Yes. Now, if you notice, Soulkey likes to do 3-base play. Like a lot of hatches. He just has a lot of stuff, and he's trying to, basically win because he knows he has good control.
Yeah.
Okay. We need to see some storms here.
Oh, man. What is Shuttle up to right now?
I don't know.
It looks like he was setting up his third base, but, I mean, this has been a couple sloppy attacks that we've seen.
Thing is, I think Protoss still has a little bit of wiggle room here, right? I mean, Protoss could still get up on that high ground. We see the third base is being taken. Even though Hydra Lurker is scary on the map, the problem is it's hard to attack in with it against Storm, right? Lurkers have to be stationary to burrow. Hydras have to be stationary to attack. But what Soulkey is doing, as far as I can tell, is a huge Hydra Lurker contain. He's going to try to contain in 2 locations. This is really ambitious, but someone with good control can do it. And this is actually one of the older ways to play the game. You used to see it Zerg on 2 to 3 bases. Actually, I guess 3 base was the right way to do it. And I'm talking like over 10, 15 years ago, guys.
Yeah.
The way that you did it was the Protoss took their expansion, and you would litter the outside of their base with lurkers and slowly expand and make drones. And the idea was they wouldn't get their third base. In this case, he wants to do Hydra Lurker contain, stopping the Protoss from a 4th base, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is a hell of a lot of supply put into this from Soulkey.
Yeah.
I feel like Soulkey's gaining the advantage at this point. Like, we've seen a couple botched moves from Shuttle, after a very solid opening. He's like behind on upgrades by far. It's like +2 against, well, I guess the +1 finally finished.
Yeah, that's right. Now, if you look at the third base here for Protoss, that ramp is not a real viable exit point. We don't have a shot of it, but the third base, whether it's north, south, east, west, those bases, you're on high ground and the ramp is like a little funnel that you can't get your army down. And if you played any amount of StarCraft 1, you know it's hard to get a lot of units, no matter what race you are, down a ramp.
Yeah.
Especially when there's things attacking it down there. The AI is pretty crazy about that. So he's going to have to break through from this point in time. And so you can see how everything's arced out. Now, the Observer is what you want to watch for here. He needs to keep the Observers alive. Those should be hotkeyed to something so that he can micro them constantly, and he probably needs to get Observer speed.
Well, he's got 3 right now. He's just got to be very careful not to send them too far, and that's what Soulkey's looking for, like you said. Look at this. He's coming up with some Hydras now. Target's down one of them.
Nicely done. The second Observer's there. It's not gone yet. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a third. There's third Observer.
Yeah.
They were stacked on top of each other.
But he's killed off most of the Hydras now, and he's still trying to break out.
Now, if we go really old school, there's going to be a hatchery made out here in the middle of the map, and he'll start making sunks and spores. I don't think we're going to have that.
I would be pretty surprised if he went that far back in time with this strat. I don't know if Soulkey was born yet when people were doing that.
Yeah. Again, Shuttle's trying to push out. He's doing his best.
A couple more lurkers coming up. Hey, when you hold the first couple attacks, that's pretty darn good for the Zerg player.
Okay.
I'm kind of interested, by the way. That group of units that Soulkey has over in the top natural, like, he's still waiting for those units to come down the ramp that you said that they should run up.
Yeah.
And he's actually running them down now. We're not getting a picture of it, but...
Here's the weird thing about watching this, right? You look at this and say Protoss is so dead, but if Protoss breaks out, the Zerg can die. A lot of times it looks like Protoss is dying. They keep getting pushed back inside their base, and then suddenly they break the contain, and then you realize, oh, there's nothing but these tier 1 units that don't have a position. Now, that being said, Soulkey is looking pretty solid at this lurker contain.
Yeah, you can really see his macro catching on.
Yeah.
The fact that he's up supply as well, if Zerg is ever ahead of Protoss or Terran, or hey, even Zerg, then they are winning the game. Like the Zerg army for supply in StarCraft 1 is much stronger than the other races. So this is a big tell right here that Soulkey's done many things right. But like you said, these are low tier units. Hydra, Lurker, Ling, there's no Defilers, there's nothing else.
A lot of times behind this, I don't know if he has Adrenal yet, but a lot of times what happens is when the Protoss breaks out and they have all these Dragoons and it looks like it's going amazing, they have Lings with the speed and Adrenal upgrade.
Yeah.
And then all the Dragoons die. And that's another way the game can end. But for now, Soulkey is sticking with step 1 for prevention of the Protoss breakout is just kill the Observer.
Yeah. And when you get down to this point where you're waiting for another Observer to come out, I feel like that's where I see so many Protoss lose, right? You got 2-3, you're trying to micro them and making the Zerg overcommit to kill them. That's fantastic, but when they kill your Observer, then you're like, all right, well, I have another one that's almost out. You know, suddenly you're on this almost methodical rhythm that Zerg can just destroy.
Well, we saw the Naturals almost mined out, right? It doesn't matter how close the Zerg is to mining out ever here because the Zerg has the map. So it's now going to be just one base with all the probes mining there. And basically, Protoss has to make this work now.
Here he comes in. Even storms his own Observer. Another one comes out and dies to another storm. He just can't get over this bridge.
No, he really can't. I think this game might end with a Fizzle Artosis.
I think you're right.
I just don't. I just don't see it. You almost got to wonder when you see something like this, is it worth running half your army over the top left part of the screen here?
Yeah.
And attacking at that angle?
The thing is, you're also so afraid of like an arc of Hydras behind there.
Yeah.
If there's like an arc of units to catch you before you get off the lurkers, oh man, your army's really dead then. But it feels like, I mean, Shuttle's almost maxed, so there's definitely still a chance. It's just, Soulkey has to be feeling really, really nice about this position.
Okay. He's going to try to bust out again here. Let's see. Let's see what happens, okay? It's hard to call this in advance because you just want to watch that Observer. Now, both Observers are still alive. One is taken out, but the second one is killed too. I'll tell you what, though, if he can get a third one, maybe
That is so many lurkers.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's funny, too, because on paper you'd say, well, you just get Dragoons and High Templars here, and you know, that's what you do. Unfortunately, when the Zerg is this good, and they've continued for this long, think of how little Zerg is losing every time this exchange goes down.
Yeah. Very, very little comparatively. He's up about 50 supply right now. Storm goes down. He keeps this Observer alive for a surprisingly long amount of time so far.
I do want to point out, he has no Observer speed, right?
No, he does not.
Yeah.
He never got
the
that.
Observer's much faster than that. Sometimes I got to do a double take when I'm casting stuff like this, where my mind is so broken from losing so many Observers in games. I'm like, they do have speed. That's just how good they are. Okay,
it
there
just
it is.
finished.
Observer speed's done.
Oh,
unfortunately, it's not running away.
Yeah. GG.
Okay, GG
wow,
it is.
All right.
Sick. Nice redeeming game there from Soulkey. And hey, dude, he opened up with that Hydra pressure early on, the Hydra bust, and it didn't work. And Soulkey still engineered a solid late game.
It didn't go well in the first game, or the second game, really. But I guess the transition here into like a Hydra Lurker play was a bit better than trying to go into Spire previously.
You know, here's the other thing as well, is that attack, when Shuttle had the advantage, he busted out, he stormed eggs, that doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Unless you can storm them enough times to kill them before they hatch. Sure. And the Zealots weren't targeting the Lurkers, so he sent out this army, all the Zealots died, and I think from there, Soulkey said, okay, well, I've got a little bit of momentum, let's try and contain play, and he set it up brilliantly.
Yeah, really well done by Soulkey. I like that he used this very old style